Sydney Sweeney has started to fall off, after years of minor controversies have caused major damage to her reputation and career. Let's walk through all of it, so you can decide for yourself if the online complaints about her are justified. Sydney Sweeney first became well known around 2020 for roles on TV shows like Euphoria, The White Lotus, and more. Her first controversy happened in August 2022. Sydney posted photos of her mother's birthday party on Instagram. People online noticed some questionable red hats being worn in the background, and the obvious Blue Lives Matter t-shirt in one of the photos, which led them to discover Sydney's brother's Instagram post showing the hats are a parody of the red MAGA hat for the 60th birthday party being held, reading "Make 60 Great Again." Some people saw both of these things and assumed Sydney Sweeney's family were Trump fans. The backlash online caused her to respond on Twitter the same day, writing, "You guys, this is wild. An innocent celebration for my mom's milestone 60th birthday has turned into an absurd political statement, which was not the intention. Please stop making assumptions. Much love to everyone and happy birthday, Mom." 1 year after this incident, Sydney reflected on the situation during an interview with Variety. "There were so many misinterpretations. The people in the pictures weren't even my family. The people who brought the things that people were upset about were actually my mom's friends from LA, who have kids that are walking outside in the Pride Parade, and they thought it would be funny to wear because they were coming to Idaho." As soon as this drama seemed to finally fade away, the first trailer for Sydney Sweeney's next movie released. Anyone But You was set to be a steamy rom-com, starring Sweeney and Glenn Powell. The 2 months leading up to the movie's theatrical release included Sydney and Glenn manufacturing a very obviously fake PR relationship. However, looking back at the movie's success just months later proved the trick was still effective. Glenn told the New York Times, "The two things that you have to sell a rom-com are fun and chemistry. Sydney and I have a lot of fun together, and we have a ton of effortless chemistry. That's people wanting what's on the screen off the screen. And sometimes you just have to lean into it a bit." And it worked wonderfully. Sydney is very smart. Most of the real damage done in this situation was by Glenn Powell to his now ex-girlfriend, Gigi Paris, who appeared on a podcast a year later in June 2025, revealing many of the details behind the fake relationship rumors Glenn was admittedly leaning into during their actual relationship. At one point explaining what led to her dumping him. She was flying to Australia where Glenn was filming Anyone But You. He called and said, "The producers and I discussed that I think it's best that you don't come to visit." And that's when I hung up. And I was like, this mother effer is done to me. That phone call really is what broke me. I thought we had hope, like things would maybe get better. But once I got that phone call, I just knew it was done. I'd lost whoever that person was that I loved. Now let's go back to Sydney Sweeney, because this is the point where all of the drama surrounding her really began. March 2024, Sydney Sweeney is the host of Saturday Night Live. During her monologue, she wards off rumors regarding her and Glenn being together, saying she fully intends to marry her 40-year-old fiancé, who she's been with for 7 years and has a 14-year age gap with. That's obviously not true, she said of rumors of an affair with Powell. "Me and my fiancé produced the movie together, and he was there the entire shoot. And I just want to let everyone know that he's the man of my dreams, and we're still together and stronger than ever." Also during SNL, their extremely creative writers managed to capitalize on Sydney's God-given talents by doing a Hooters sketch. And as you'd expect when it comes to right-wing weirdos online, they immediately started writing actual think pieces about how woke people hate Sydney Sweeney's boobs. I'm literally not joking about this. But I'm not gonna act surprised that this specific group of guys thinks a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white lady that acts like reheated Marilyn Monroe is real body positivity. Okay, now let's jump forward from March 2024 to June 2025. Sydney Sweeney has been working with the soap brand Dr. Squatch, capitalizing more on the persona she's built up. However, after a few months of ads, she decides to pitch her own product.
Guys only want one thing.
And that's apparently Sydney Sweeney's bathwater. You asked for it, so you know what we did? Our team and Sydney kept her bathwater from this bath and made soap with it. With Sydney's permission. Sydney's Bathwater Bliss. This is not a prank. Her bathwater is in every brick, and it smells incredible. We did this to help you wake up and pay attention to the ingredients in your soap. There's never been a better time to switch to natural soap. Hit that link in the bio and get yourself your very own limited brick. Let's go!
Before the soap even hit the shelves, it seemed like Sydney pre-prepared for the oncoming backlash. She told People magazine, "When your fans start asking for your bathwater, you can either ignore it or turn it into a bar of Dr. Squatch soap. It's weird in the best way, and I love that we created something that's not just unforgettable. It actually smells incredible, and delivers like every other Dr. Squatch product I love. Hopefully, this helps guys wake up to the realities of conventional personal care products and pushes them towards natural." In another interview, she added, "I think that it's more fun to see everybody else talk about it." When asked how the bathwater concept was created, she cheekily added, "I pitched it." However, despite the lighthearted nature of the manufactured drama, Sydney made a comment to the Washington Street Journal 2 months later, which offended more than a few women online. It was mainly the girls making comments about it, which I thought was really interesting. They all loved the idea of Jacob Elordi's bathwater. This led to new articles with headlines perpetuating the conversation. To build on the bathwater soap situation, Sydney announced she was leaving her 41-year-old fiancé, Jonathan Davino. Weeks later, she goes to Italy to attend Jeff Bezos' wedding. Unfortunately for her, another 40-year-old is waiting in the wings to swoop her up. And this time it's the actual devil, Scooter Braun, a man famous for being an awful person in the music industry. They were captured in a video together by a random person on TikTok. 4 months later, an inside source, who is definitely not Sydney Sweeney's PR manager, is telling US Weekly details about Sydney and Scooter's steady relationship. Braun, 44, has opened Sweeney's eyes to opportunities and ways of thinking she hadn't considered before. Sydney has been soaking up the knowledge he brings from working across so many different sectors and industries, and she truly admires the level of experience and insight he has. Beyond the business side, she respects his drive and ambition, which has inspired her in her own life. Though Braun and Sweeney, 28, have been keeping things light and fun, they have also been consistently seeing each other for the last 2 months, the insider says. The new relationship led to one of the worst headlines I've read this entire year. Somehow, this is also a 16-year age gap, 2 years longer than her previous relationship. 1 month after these details started coming out, Sydney Sweeney told GQ that she is single and not looking for a man right now. However, the very next day, a handful of awkward and obviously staged kissing photos of Sydney and Scooter were posted online. But now let's talk about the biggest controversy yet. At the end of July, Sydney Sweeney released a series of ads with American Eagle, promoting their genes by relating their high quality to her great genetics.
Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My genes are blue.
Sydney Sweeney has great genes.
The ad received questions online almost instantly, with people pointing out how saying the hair color and eye color of a blonde and blue-eyed white person is great genes. Yeah, historically that's not a great look. This, of course, led to top 5 worst Canadian of all time, Ted Cruz, saying, "Wow, now the crazy left has come out against beautiful women. I'm sure that will poll well." JD Vance then decided to throw his eyeliner-stained opinion into the ring by urging angry Democrats to keep it up, continue to tell everybody who thinks she's attractive that they're a Nazi. What the hell is this drama queen talking about? These guys make up such bad propaganda that it's painfully obvious who they're actually trying to defend. This has nothing to do with whether or not people think Sydney Sweeney's attractive. Just 2 days later, it was discovered that Sydney's a registered Republican voter, leading to even more commentary from conservatives online. Donald Trump, upon hearing the news, said it was a fantastic ad.
Sydney Sweeney, she's like a very hot actress right now.
She's a registered Republican?
Yes.
Oh, now I love her ad. If Sydney Sweeney is a registered Republican, I think her ad is fantastic. Okay, thank you very much, everybody.
He also made a point to mention her in this rambling Truth Social post. Sydney Sweeney, a registered Republican, has the hottest ad out there. It's for American Eagle, and the jeans are flying off the shelves. Go get 'em, Sydney. On the other side of the ledger, Jaguar did a stupid and seriously woke advertisement. That is a total disaster. The CEO just resigned in disgrace, and the company is in absolute turmoil. Who wants to buy a Jaguar after looking at that disgraceful ad? Shouldn't they have learned a lesson from Bud Light, which went woke and essentially destroyed in a short campaign the company? Okay, we're only reading half of that. However, the president's co-sign to the drama spurred on some of the dumbest people online to start sharing sorority dance videos in order to trigger the left. Sorority sisters with good genes at the University of Oklahoma are getting geared up for Rush with some cute and fun country dancing. They're happy, wholesome, and classic America. Nothing is more triggering to leftists. Within 2 weeks, Sydney Sweeney became directly associated with both the online and real-life Republican Party. Despite the quick turnaround, many called back to where it all began. 3 months later, on November 4th, Sydney didn't make things in this situation any better, because during an interview with GQ, she finally responded to the backlash from the ad.
The criticism of the content, which was basically that, maybe specifically in this political climate, like, white people shouldn't joke about genetic superiority. Like, that was kind of like the criticism, broadly speaking. And since you are talking about this, I just wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about that specifically.
I think that when I have an issue that I want to speak about, people will hear.
Sweeney also called it surreal that President Donald Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance both reacted to the controversy. When the interviewer asked Sweeney if she felt thankful that very powerful people like POTUS had her back in public, she replied, I don't think that. It's not that I didn't have that feeling, but I wasn't thinking of it like that, or any of it. In the GQ interview, Sweeney said that she ignored the noise about the ad. I kind of just put my phone away, she shared. I was filming every day. I'm filming Euphoria. So I'm working 16-hour days and I don't really bring my phone on set. So I work and then I go home and I go to sleep. So I didn't really see a lot of it. But Sweeney did confirm that she was aware of American Eagle's 38% soaring stocks thanks to the ad. When I saw all the headlines of in-store visits were down a certain percentage, none of it was true, she explained. It was all made up, but nobody could say anything because the company was in their quiet period. So it was all just a lot of talk. And because I knew at the end of the day what that ad was for, and it was great jeans. It didn't affect me one way or the other. Many people online saw this response as avoiding addressing a serious issue, which has now led to multiple celebrities making their distaste with Sydney Sweeney known. Now, believe it or not, that GQ interview by Sydney was supposed to be promo for her new movie, where she stars as Christy Martin, the badass lesbian boxer who has an inspiring story of surviving an abusive relationship. Unfortunately for Christy's story and everyone involved in this movie, their lead actor's entire PR plan of cultivating a right-wing audience while complaining about the critics didn't really pan out in the box office, leading to the 9th worst theatrical release of all time, an average of $646 per theater. Not to mention, Sydney has soured her reputation so much, this was her 3rd box office failure in 2025. But that's everything I was able to find surrounding the fall off of Sydney Sweeney. Let me know in the comments if I missed anything. Tell me if you think the fall off is real and deserved, or if it's all made up and not her fault. Please subscribe and like the video to catch the next story. Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end, and I'll see you in the next one.